There we go. Early bombs, always good. And all 4 players making that choice, they'll be very glad for it.
We can see a small divergence off the back as, well, eLmaGus and SevenS1ns both going north through a slightly different route. But Wild Anaconda's found the blue male up in the sanctuary.
Very nice. And Rez thinks about going to the castle, decides, you know what, I gotta go visit my uncle. Well, we just have a bit of a stream delay for 7.
Yeah, that's just to sync up their streams, nothing to be worried about. And it looks like the uncle was holding the powder.
Yeah, that's a little bit dubious. Who knows what's in that bag?
Oh, it might explain how he ended up in there.
Yeah, I guess that's a little bit better than him having the mushroom.
So we have seen a couple of tree pull checks, and it looks like pulling a tree when they've killed one enemy just gives them a heart today. So I don't think we'll see more of that. But the bush crab was giving out bombs, and
that's a great thing to farm. We'll probably see that here.
I'd be very surprised if they never did that.
Oh, and there was a map check. I saw Crystal and Hera.
It looked like the blue pendant might have been at the Desert Palace. And it looks like, or it sounds like, they are wandering throughout the world right now.
Indeed. Yeah, we're having just a touch of trouble here. We're back, alright. Bomb upgrade out of the forest drop as SevenS1ns would seem to be standing still in the lumberjack, where a bottle is hidden, we see on eLmaGus.
So that bottle will make the runners a bit anxious, I think. It's possible that the sick kid will give them an item for coming with a bottle, but they'll have to beat Ganem if they want that particular bottle out of him.
Right, and there is a small chance that it will be the only bottle accessible for then, but
with
it's
3 other bottles in the game, my hope is that they're going to find a bottle somewhere else and not have to worry about that.
Right. It would be quite the remarkable seat for a AGA required for lumber bottle.
I won't lie, I would be excited to see that, but for the time being, I want the runners to do well.
Yeah, and so we've got a red rupee out of Blind's Hut for Wild, and we might not get to see some of these other chests. I'm not sure about the second, but there's a heart piece in number 3. And might get a heart
Looks
piece.
Like another heart piece.
And we might get a chance to see chest number 2. Oh, Power Glove out of the back as Wild's feed zips through that section.
The Power Glove, I think, is what makes him go so fast.
I thought that was the, oh, what are those again?
We don't have those today.
Oh.
Looks like Wild finding a full heart container at the back of the well, as well as 20 rupees, a piece of heart, and 20 more rupees. So
more red trash pickups.
Very red, mostly trash.
Although this early collecting the heart pieces isn't so bad. You gotta build up at least 4 hearts before you go to face an early blind, right?
We're assuming they're going for early blind, which...
Oh, and there was hookshot in the first chest of the well we're seeing on Rez's screen. Totally missed that. Very nice. So yeah, they've got some Death Mountain access if they can get a lamp or feeling bold enough to face the dark.
I wouldn't be surprised if any of these runners started just running up Death Mountain without the lantern.
And we got chat calling out what I missed as silvers in the chicken hut. Thanks for that.
Well, that's a load off their minds. They won't need those for a very long time, but... And if I'm reading it right, it looks like the bottle vendor for the low price of 100 rupees is selling 100 rupees?
It was either 100 or 50. I'm not sure, because I think after that exchange, I saw SevenS1ns has under 100 rupees.
That's right. So it would be
Yeah.
50.
Yeah. So, just a bad business investment.
The bottle vendor's going to do well off of this.
Yeah.
So it looks like Wild is checking the back of Escape right now. Since he got that early glove, this is a great place to check for 3 chests.
Yeah, it's definitely not one you want to leave eating.
And he comes up with the red boomerang, it looks like, which
And
most runners will say is the inferior boomerang, but I know you have some different thoughts about it.
Yeah, I do appreciate the longer range, helps out in GT, among other places. And we got Rez making a run for his race game after eLmaGus turned it down, leading me to believe he did not check beforehand. But hey, bombs this early? Why not? Having picked up an upgrade at places he's not even wasting.
Yeah, so it looks like Wild is going straight up Death Mountain. No lamp, he's just going to run through that dark cave. So
and that's right, ninnies. We have top versus top. That's green versus red, and then blue versus yellow for the purposes of our Swiss tournament standings. But
yeah,
we
for
do
those
have
who
all one
missed the first minute. That's right. They're both on the same seat here. They are, however, in independent races. So just because the runner on the left wins, that does not affect the other race.
And we do have crystal number 6 at Eastern. So we've got 2 crystals in the light world. And you were correct gauging blue pendant on desert early. Wild Anaconda had made his way up to Death Mountain. I missed what the old man had.
Fortunately, eLmaGus is going to show us as well in just a second.
Well, that's a nice job putting that hook shot, or in this case, the red rang to work. See, you can't do echolocation with the blue boomerang. Not in a big long hallway like that.
That's a compelling argument.
Although, when he has the hook shot.
So it looks like Wild hasn't found anything of interest on the left side of Death Mountain. He does have that hook shot, so we're going to see him go across that bridge and check out the right side.
And we're going to see another great use of the hook shot here on Rez's screen as he goes into the mini Moldorm cave and just one-hit KOs all of those with ease. So much easier than the bomb strats that are often employed at this stage of an open mode seed. And is that a hammer?
That is a hammer for Reziphos from the generous guy in Moldorm Cave.
Yeah. Generous indeed.
And Wild's found the Moon Pearl up in that 7-chest Paradox Cave on Death Mountain.
Fantastic.
So with the combination of those 2 items, that's some very early Dark World access for these runners.
Indeed. They've got everything they need to get in through a couple of different avenues. And they're just a certain piece of blue footwear away from maybe a dip in the swamp.
It looks like Wild also found the mirror in that cave. Or, I'm sorry, not Maeve.
Quake and the mushroom?
Quake.
Oh, okay.
Quake medallion.
I was going to say, that was
I wish it was the mirror.
Stacked. Yeah, that would have been a stacked cave. So we had Quake, the mushroom, and the Moon Pearl up there, which is definitely a nice haul.
Yeah, and as a side effect of... Oh no, he doesn't have the hammer, so he can't make it up to the Tower of Hera.
Quite. But we will see...
Hookshot Cave, I think.
As Rez makes his way up there, he'll be able to do this as well.
That's right. By virtue of having checked down by Lake Hylia, Rez is going to be able to get all the way to Hera.
Yeah. Knowing it's a crystal and you have a hammer to take down Moldorm It's really a smart play.
Yeah, and from a check, it looks like they've found the ether medallion sitting on top of that floating island, as we call it.
Oh, on the floating island. All right.
Yeah. So since the entrances to Misery Mire and Turtle Rock have been shuffled and might need a different medallion than normal, they're going to have to pay attention to where that ether medallion is.
That is correct. And we'll hope that they find even more than just that as they make their way to Hookshot Cave later for sure. It sounds like one of our runners is in the 7 stash. Oh, there we are, SevenS1ns. While Rez is going to make his dark trip up to the west side of Death Mountain. Each of our runners showing a good prowess here.
So it looks like
dark rooms.
Wild and eLmaGus are finally making their way down to the south of Dark Mountain, or south of Hyrule. They're going to be finding that hammer and kind of kicking themselves, I expect.
A tiny bit for sure, but knowing that there's so much left to do up there, it's going to be fine to route it in later, but we'll have to see if Rez really gets a big advantage from this.
That's right. Now, all 4 runners have been up Death Mountain, but it's a sequence break for all of them at this point, because without that lamp, they weren't expected to go up there. Obviously, we're not going to stop them, but if technically the game's not expecting them to run up there till they found a lamp.
Right. And that'll be interesting if the basement of Hera comes into play, too, because there may be an item of great worth there that gets left behind on account of having no fire. Whereas if done in sequence, the lamp would provide that.
That's right. Unless, of course, that flute is their intended way of getting up the mountain. We'll have to see how that turns out.
Yeah. It'll be quite interesting as we see Dark World coming for Wild. And a trip to the Ice Rock Cave. Play. Oh, and rather even a fake flipper instead from eLmaGus. But yeah, I definitely agree with Wild taking advantage of what we lovingly call and sometimes feel disappointed by the Hype Cave. We'll see how it pays out for him. Oh, well, there you go.
The flute. I'd say flute. That pays off.
Yeah, and actually that gets him the Death Mountain access now. Because the glove and the hammer were both away from the mountain.
Ah, but the Moon Pearl was on the mountain.
Oh, you're right. So yeah, no, this still works into a strange sequence break.
Yes. Now, I missed what eLmaGus found, or eLmaGus rather, found at the waterfall cave there.
If our trackers to be believed, then it wasn't anything of terrible import.
I believe our tracker.
I believe it. Thank you, Gilmo. Clarifying
and a heart piece.
Indeed. As Rez finds that information about the floating island and is going to make that play on Hera. I do like his chances here, even knowing that the flute is in Dark World. It's not going to do anything for him here. And the mushroom was turned in for a red rupee.
If I could get $20 every day for something I found growing in the forest, I'd be pretty happy.
And Wild picked up a bottle somewhere as he went back to a sick kid. And so we found out that all he gets for that is a little bit of love.
Well, that'll certainly take his anxiety away from that Aghanim cave under the lumberjacks.
And we're going to see eLmaGus get that flute now.
And SevenS1ns is already doing the quick check into Skull Woods which sounds like it's a crystal dungeon.
That is correct, yeah. Got that good crystal dungeon music for you. And I do like this play. These are map check. Green on Mire, red on Swamp. 5 is Skull Woods.
That's right.
But yeah, I do like these early Skull Woods plays when you can do them, as the chests are basically free, just a little bit of navigation. And it looks like we're going to see Rez go for a bomb jump here. Oh, but he takes the fall. And a double fall at that.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that is one of the easier bomb jumps to set up, but when you mess it up, it's one of the most punishing to fail on. So it looks like SevenS1ns found the mitts in the back of Skull Woods.
Awesome. And right after that, a red rupee, so he knows his work here is done for now.
That's right. Each runner, for those that don't know, usually keeps track of how many items they can expect from each dungeon. So we all know that Skull Woods has 2. When SevenS1ns gets that second item, he says, there's nothing more to search for here. And he's just going to come back once he has the fire rod to fully clear that dungeon.
Exactly right. And we're going to see, the hook shot get put to work here for the big chest in Hera. Yeah, that was a mistake on his part not to put it to work earlier. As we get a full heart out of the digging game for eLmaGus.
Looks like Wild is going to forgo dipping into Skull Woods and is instead clearing Thieves Town.
Yeah, he's got enough to do it. Blue Mail helps.
Blue Mail helps. The fight against Blind is a challenging one with only the hammer, but I'll be impressed to see what he does with this.
And he may yet find some helpful items. We've got 4 of them here in Thieves Town, so you can keep track. We get that early big key as we must. As Rez is working on Moldorm with his hammer and does finish the job. Well done. So we get our first crystal just 17 minutes into this one.
Now, I wasn't able to count items for Rez. Do you know if he got all 2 from Tower of Hera?
I also happen to miss it.
I did see that Moldorm dropped 3 bombs, so if just one other chest had something for him, he's full cleared that.
Yeah, knowing he doesn't have a way to deal with it in either case, we're not going to see him recheck that.
No.
Not until he has to. And it looks like so far there was it 1 item up top for Thieves Town? Or I guess it might have to be 2.
Looks like it was only perhaps 1, but I'm seeing comments in chat about it being a sharpened stick, which could mean Wild has picked up the fighter sword. Tracker's certainly saying that he has, which is great.
Ah, good news.
So that makes the fight with Blind substantially easier.
Indeed.
Trying to do that with a hammer is a pain.
And you don't really have to worry about which sword or hammer you have for this because of Blind's very unique damage tables. He runs more or less a pattern rather than a health bar.
That's right. If you were a kid and you thought, oh, I'll just get the level 3 or 4 sword before fighting Blind, that was doing you no good. In fact, it's just 9 hits on Blind, whatever you use.
Oh, the bottle was there in the hype cave. Missed it among the other items.
Too excited for the flute.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to see the Ice Rod Cave check from eLmaGus now.
Yeah, this is a location that's very far out of the way, so most players don't check it early. Especially because if it's something like that 3 bombs that eLmaGus got, it's pretty bad, and a pretty bad use of your time.
Right. Now, I'm supposing he at least did a little better there by activating the flute to shorten the trip. But
yeah, that makes it a lot less painful.
But still, it ends up feeling bad by the end of it if it's not paid out well.
So we're gonna get a pyramid check from Rez. Oh no!
Oh, jeez. Takes a death instead. And the bow.
Wild has found the bow.
In Thieves Town, big chest. We'll see each of our players catch that up fairly quickly as they all have the hammer heading in. But indeed, this kind of sets the course for the next couple of dungeons.
And the
by
cane.
God, this is rather hype Thieves Town.
A
We got
sword, the hammer, the cane of Samaria.
Yeah.
Anyone who doesn't go to Thieves Town early today is going to have a long time finding stuff for this seed.
Indeed. And we got chat already hoping for more hype, but I think we've seen all 4 items now. It was a blue rupee, the other 3 good items, the sword, the cane, and the bow. And so we've got a burrito or a plate of nachos on mine.
So it looks like eLmaGus is heading into Eastern Palace here.
Interesting. And a shame when we know where the bow is, as Seven has picked up the cane first, and blind goes down so easy.
Very clean blind fight.
Yeah, it looks like he runs the script. There's the first time you fight blind, because of the way you have to bring the maiden in, it's a determinate fight. It appears wild and random, but well practiced and well executed for him.
There's a very specific sequence of movements you can do that will direct the heads around the room in just the right way, that you don't have to worry too hard.
Right, and it looks like we're having a bit of technical difficulties, but we'll be right back with this.
Looks like we're back already.
Yeah.
To some extent.
We do see Seven has entered his blind fight, as Wild has now decided, well, I've got the bow, and I know how to use it. Let's go to Eastern. Hoping to find a lamp at some point, rather than heading up for Pod, deciding to see about this, with eLmaGus already in Eastern, picking up one of the rods. I could not note the color. And an awesome fight from Seven there to finish off blind. We got so much excitement going on right now, and I haven't been able to keep track of any of it, as we have the pulls from the back of Sahasrahla and the big chest out of Eastern.
That's right. So it looks like 3 of our 4 runners are now in that eastern side of the world. SevenS1ns being the only one who isn't.
Right, and if we're counting this right, then Wild Anaconda is the only one with the bow, and we're going to see him finish off Eastern, where...
That's right.
Yeah, our other runners are going to have to continue later.
I'm a bit surprised that Wild...
Oh, there was red mail
didn't.
we should have seen.
Oh!
In Sahasrahlas, as Wild is running around wearing it. Funny
So
how easy that is to miss.
That's 2 very early mail upgrades in this game.
Indeed.
It's tempting to read that as, the seed is going to push you somewhere very difficult very early. But, in fact, the mails are randomly placed without any bearing for the rest of the game. So,
Indeed.
I don't think there's anything to read into with that.
And what was that off of Stumpy? I could not read.
A couple of arrows, perhaps?
Huh. We're getting word from chat that Magus has the bow as well? Or was it Seven? Oh, Seven has the bow. Misread that. And Fluffy Mittens informing that it was arrows from Stumpy, so good eye.
Very good.
And we have Bamos in the beginning of the descent under the castle.
So depending on which medallions they actually need to open things, eLmaGus could have all the information he needs.
Right.
Or
I
in
do
fact,
want to correct us earlier, though. We called the flute the hype item in the cave, but truly it is the bee.
there was a bee in that bottle?
Yeah, there was. I
Oh,
only
yeah.
noticed it now. I
Absolutely.
apologize. That was very remiss.
That bee's quite essential to play.
Yeah.
And we say that facetiously, but there are
Actually-
a couple of rooms where you can deploy that bee and wreck some enemies.
Yeah, bee strats in the beginning of Mire are pretty fun. Oh, and that turned out to be the fire rod we're seeing for eLmaGus, which Wild then also picked up. That coming out of Eastern Palace. Oh, the bee also working on the blind fight, as chat reminds. And today in Zelda's chest, we have an arrow upgrade. I guess that's better than an arrow. We do need to save the princess after all.
That is the goal of this game. SevenS1ns activating his flute. Everyone please rise for our national anthem.
Yeah, get those swag ducks in. Oh, right, and with the early silvers, this bow is all the more a leverage point for the seed.
So Wild's going to be able to finish up Eastern here with probably a very quick Armos fight. And I expect we'll see him head straight to Skull Woods after that. Since he's got his fire rod, he can clear that dungeon entirely.
Indeed. Meanwhile, we've got the bat not paying off, well, paying off in the literal sense, but not in the way that you'd like with 20 rupees. As we get a Mire check out of SevenS1ns, we'll find out one of our dastardly medallions is, albeit for a pendant. And remembering then that the hookshot works better on those pterodactyls. And if you blinked, you missed it down on Wild Anaconda's screen with that Armos fight.
So that is 2 crystals for him already.
Right, giving him an objective lead in that sense.
Rez is now heading into the Dark World, so we might see him catch up a bit of that lead pretty quickly, especially if he does the early blind play.
Right. Having the unique advantage of clearing Tower of Hera earlier. Yeah, and we had glove upgrades in the Sanctuary chest or not Sanctuary, in Blind's Hut and in Skull Woods, to answer chat. And we're seeing Seven make a play on Pod. He's feeling comfortable with those dark rooms and with his rupee count.
Yeah, just 3 areas that he has to do in the dark here. I expect that all the runners in this race are pretty confident doing the dark rooms if they have to.
Yeah, it seems to be the trend. These guys know that all of their competition are learning them, and so you gotta follow suit.
In addition, runners are allowed to have notes on another monitor or print it out, so it'd be very common to see them watch a printout of what that maze looks like as they go through it, just so they don't get hopelessly lost.
Indeed. As far as I know, we do still have 2 of our runners running around without a sword, which is dark rooms remind me. But of course, with the red rang and the hook shot, we can get a bit of navigation. Where 7 will be able to use the traditional hold B maneuver.
That's right, that little swirl at the end of your sword when you've charged the spin attack, that actually shows up through the dark. And that's what most people use to keep track of where they're going.
We're seeing... I'm surprised to see that dam check from Wild.
I thought he had been down to South Light World already, but perhaps not.
Well, I think he had been. I think he had already done... when he walked in, the chest was open. Oh, and doing a pump fake on that switch to get the key out of the chest. As he runs for his life from the skulls. Alright. Putting that powder to use. Nice thing to have. If they get that bug net, the safety pack will be complete.
That's right. So looking at Wild make his way along the south shore, I actually don't think he's cashed in his flute yet, despite being the first of these 4 racers to get one.
Interesting. Yeah, but he does line up this fake flipper. We find a single rupee on the Lake Hylia island, and we're going to find out, hopefully soon, what the hobo has, unless that dastardly sniper arrow guard has something to say for it.
So now that Rez and eLmaGus have both made their way into Thieves Town, I think we're going to see all 4 runners with the sword, with the Cane of Samaria, and with the bow pretty soon, which is a nice loadout for them all to have.
Indeed. Now, it looks like we had basically a vanilla bottle on the hobo.
Was there anything in that?
It appeared to be empty.
So very vanilla.
Yeah, must have drank all the moonshine. But yeah, to remind you all of the format, we've got all runners running the same seed on this feed, but we've got green versus red and blue versus yellow for the purpose of tournament standings.
So Wild's doing a very strange glitch here, called the Water Walk, where he can enter and exit a cave, and because he has the Moon Pearl, the game is checking on his state in some different ways each time he goes inside and out, and by entering and exiting that cave a couple of times, he can end up walking to pick up those chests.
Very well explained.
And then he's going to continue that water walk as he heads up to Zora to buy something for 500 rupees. And I think he's the first one to buy from Zora.
I have not seen it yet. And he gets it. He gets the hammer yump, and he gets the flippers for it. Very nice, while the lantern pops out of Zora's mouth.
So that lantern kind of puts Wild Anaconda back on the sequence. He now understands what path he was supposed to take to get all these items he has.
Persistent pays off for 7. He'll have a little bit easier time managing this room.
Looks like he is taking the death in there.
Yeah, and
I
judging
don't
by the
think he
speed
got
at which
those
he took
chests.
it. Yeah, I cannot be sure. Yeah, lacking the mirror and needing to go other places in pod, not uncommon to see our runners take that death on purpose. As we have a sink up the stairs on the left side for our guys in Thieves Town. Let's see. And well, there's the mirror.
There's the mirror that SevenS1ns wanted to get back to the entrance of the dungeon.
All right. Oh, and the sink getting broken by a slight technical snafu. Well, not anyone's fault, but just the way the internet works. Deciding to take the death warp again. I guess he wants the health back. As Magus and Rez end up just about synced on the end of their blind fights anyhow, each getting a compass and a crystal.
So it looks like SevenS1ns warped out of pods so that he could come back to the light world and clear the Eastern Palace first.
Interesting.
And so we'll probably see him finish this, then go back into Dark World and complete the Palace of Darkness. It's an interesting routing choice. I don't think it'll hurt him at all.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe he's not ready to deal with the downstairs without the lamp and is hedging his bets here.
That room with 4 turtles or 6 turtles does get a bit dicey when you don't have a
Indeed.
lamp.
We're seeing Wild make his descent into the dungeon under Hyrule Castle. Check he has to make, but will be disappointed by. Let's see. At this point, we've got 7 can get through Swamp Palace now. And if Anaconda makes his way to Pod, he'll be able to do the same.
That's right, and I hope Wild makes one of those choices right now to either go to Pod or to Skullwoods.
Yeah, Skullwood's the better play for the crystal. Swamp, I was only thinking because of the sheer item count.
Well, he'll have to go to Pod first to get the flippers, just to get into Swamp Palace, but...
Indeed.
SevenS1ns picking up his fire rod.
And you know, there's that dastardly turtle room comes with 2 torches, and so we might see him turn around and make that play after Eastern then anyway.
That's right. Oh, so Wild, I think, wants to go to the Palace of Darkness, but doesn't have the rupees after he spent those 500 at Zora.
Oh!
So he's headed
right,
down to the entrance of the desert area, which has the fastest rupee farming in the game, even though it's still pretty slow.
Indeed. And so now with his 131 rupees and a bit of frustration, he does flute over to number 5. Or, well, number 4. And is gonna walk it this way.
We'll see what he does with that.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
eLmaGus, on the other hand, has gone into the back half of Skullwoods. He is destroying Gibdos with a hammer, and it's probably going to go all the way through and take out the moth right now.
I should hope so. Meanwhile, trying to get a clear path to run. And now on his way.
So this will be a challenging fight for eLmaGus, based on the weapons that he has.
Yeah, Mothula is quite the difficult fight in general for the arena, and also for the surprisingly long health bar. But it turned out Wild's plan was to go to the pyramid, and then he'll make his way to Pod.
That'll be good. We didn't quite see a pyramid check earlier.
Indeed. Just $20. So we got both of our blue and our red frames here, Res and 7 in Eastern. 7 a little further along. The Mothula fight has begun.
So he's burned through his fire rod and switched to hammer just for that last hit.
Yeah, well, you have to squash bugs.
So we saw some very impressive dodging as he stayed in one place on that floor and missed all those spikes.
Yeah. Seven pulls his burrito off of Armos, pardon me.
There are a lot of bosses in this game.
And a lot of them with A's and S's.
So that makes his second crystal.
Indeed. Kind of everybody at a relative tie here. Different levels of information and loadout. Although, actually, no, the loadouts have somewhat converged, save for a Bombos for SevenS1ns.
That's right, I think he's the only one who hasn't been to the castle basement. So it looks like eLmaGus is heading back to East Death Mountain. He might be going up to the Tower of Hera here, and then we'll probably see him duck back into the Dark World after that's over.
Yeah. Indeed. He's got the opportunity here to look at Turtle Rock and see if he's going to need to get that ether. Well, he might need it for Meyer, but...
SevenS1ns finally doing Sahasrahla, getting his red mail and blue meringue.
Oh, that's where that was. Huh. Do admit I missed it. While Wild is just slaying mimics in Palace of Darkness, and in the other dimension we have Rez taking out the Igors.
So I expect Wild's going to find his mirror in the next couple of minutes here. It's where the big key would normally be in the Palace of Darkness.
Indeed. Seven is making that mountain play again as well. Putting that hook shot to work to cross the bridge. But he's gonna go to Dark World first.
Yeah, he's the only player with the mirror right now, so he's able to kind of duck in and out as he goes up the mountain.
Yeah, it's a good smart move, and with that hook shot in tow as well, we'll see a good 7 items picked up here between Super Bunny, Hookshot Cave, and the trip to the floating island.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's been down to the Meyer area, so he may not know that ether's required for that.
Right. We do get rupees and a fortunate heart piece, or maybe the sank heart out of Super Bunny Cave for 7. Only going off of audio there.
And seeing a lot of gray from all runners right now. It's an interesting routing choice.
Yeah, I would have gone with more of a green myself. You can get a little more flexible. It's kind of the traditional, you can put anything here.
I prefer the blue strat, personally.
Oh, I mean, blue is my favorite color, but I was thinking more utility-wise. So, but now I'm getting something more of a black with a single line at the top. And so, it's a bold choice.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the black
Indeed.
strats, personally.
Phrasing. I'm kidding. But we do have
okay, so we do have something
some
back.
stuff back. It looks like we're gonna end up splitting the streams. We're gonna have eLmaGus and 7 here, as eLmaGus finishes up the Tower of Hera.
So it looks like we're just going to stick to having 2 streams going here, as opposed to trying to do the 4-way and running into some bandwidth issues.
Yeah. We'll stand by for Fiesel's play to see if we're going to get another one up on a different channel or if anything's available, but for now we've got a semi-high 5 as Magus makes his way out of Hera and 7 makes his way up. And shout outs to Fiesel for putting this together. It's bummer running into the technical difficulties, but it's really out of his hands in that case, and we appreciate all the effort.
And I think the fact that we're even entertaining the idea of doing these 4-way races speaks volumes as to how much incredible work is going into the organization here.
Absolutely. We're going to see a bomb jump from Roy over here, 7S1ns.
Today is the only day all week we've only had 2 matches going on, and that's just because everyone else has played their matches already.
Right.
This tournament has been incredible, seeing 10 to 12 matches a day often.
Yeah, it's been absolutely jam-packed, and as I heard somebody put it in chat before, we got matches from now till Christmas. Trademark. No. We'll see Moldorm fight, put that hammer to work. Up.
Narrowly avoids the fall.
Indeed. Gets that 3rd hit in. Very nice. as eLmaGus goes through the Super Bunny Cave. And that's right, Eliash. As of now, we don't know the medallion required for Turtle Rock. We were perhaps about to see it before we had a bit of a reformat to the stream.
I think eLmaGus is going to show us right here.
Ah, right. And it is Bombos, which he does have in tow.
That might cause some problems for SevenS1ns.
Yeah. He's going to have to make his way down the basement of Hyrule Castle to find that. That is a place that a lot of runners, we'll say deprioritize. Whether it's intentional or not.
It's a lot of walking just to check 3 chests, and so most runners won't really go there until they're running out of options.
Yeah. Oh, and there goes our other rod out of Hookshot Cave. Now we've got the fire and the ice. And the cane. He's actually standing right next to a viable dungeon option. But when you can finish it up right before Ganon's Tower, you don't blame him for saving it.
No, especially because he's still running with the fighter sword.
Oh, yeah, and Hammer Trinex is no fun.
No. I expect we'll
not
see
to
him.
mention no lamp.
Also that.
Yeah, our runners have varying times of those dark rooms. And Turtle Rock it's easy if you hit the pattern, but that's kind of a tautology. It has the potential to get out of hand very quickly.
So it looks like earlier we only saw one of the 2 items out of Hera. SevenS1ns just collected the other, but it was only a piece of heart.
Yikes. But good on him for checking. Gotta be thorough.
Okay, so it looks like SevenS1ns is going to head down into Hyrule Castle. So he will get that Bombos, which, aside from a sword and possibly a lamp, is all that he needs for Go Mode.
Yeah.
Now, where those other swords are hiding is anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah, if our previous experiences have anything to say for it, there'll be one of them at least in Ganon's Tower, but there's still plenty of this world to explore and plenty of dungeon clearing to do, so it's an often forgotten part of Go Mode that has reared its head more and more lately, but you do need at least the Master Sword to take down the Big Pig.
That's right, so we could be seeing a lot of hammer strats on a lot of different bosses until they come upon that last sword.
Indeed.
If we see that happen in the Swamp Palace, there's going to be some intense menuing as they go back and forth between Hookshot and Hammer.
Yeah, and it doesn't always look like the most interesting stuff, but if you really watch, these guys make just about 0 menuing errors altogether, but especially in that Argus fight when that time really counts. It's also quite the diabolical thing to have to do because it changes every time you play based on the loadout you have when you happen upon the fight.
That's right. If you thought Link to the Past's menu was confusing playing with the items in their intended order, it gets even worse when you're missing giant holes in the menu and there are only a couple of ways to do it.
Right.
So Seven's going to cash in his mushroom here, quite literally.
Indeed, $20 coming his way.
And I wonder if we'll then see him head up to Zora and end up buying his lamp. Because it looks like he is going to hope for that lamp before he goes on to do the rest of the game.
Indeed, he's going to drop his B off outside so he can stock up on potions on the way. Although he is now a good bit short, so,
Oh, that's an unfortunate choice.
Yeah. I mean, we have the advantage of the knowledge for that, having seen it on one of the other streams. But yeah, this is bad news.
So for those who are big fans of the other match that was going on, Rez and Wild Anaconda, I'm getting word that's going to be starting up on Speed Gaming 3, just as they get it set up. Looks like they've called in some commentators to do that on the fly.
Shout outs to the community for stepping up. Got a lot of cool people here.
Absolutely.
And shout outs to SSB Sif for the $4.99 sub.
Yes, we do have a Speed Gaming 3. We have a Speed Gaming 4 even. And there were more matches of this tournament being streamed on Randomizer Mania 1 through 4. We have
Indeed.
Randomizer all the time.
Mage is putting that fire rod to work to ease up the turtle room a bit, as we see a lack of boots affecting the way the peg cave gets accessed. As Roy goes ham on those pegs, with Frog in tow. All for arrows. While Magus goes to town on the Mask of the Helmasaur King.
And one nice thing about those early silver arrows is one arrow takes down the Helmasaur King.
Indeed.
In fact, one arrow takes down every enemy except Vitreous's big eye.
Yeah.
So that'll give eLmaGus a small lead in total crystal count. 4 to SevenS1ns 3.
Right. And that main difference now being pod itself.
But it looks like eLmaGus didn't do a full clear of the Palace of Darkness, because he set himself up for a fake flippers there. So either he forgot he had the flippers, or he never made it through the maze to the big chest to get the flippers.
He did not get the flippers based on that menu.
Or the mirror, oddly.
Huh.
So
He's feeling strong.
Hope he was keeping account of those items, because those are two
Well,
very
let's-
important items.
Yeah, well, let's see. Are they definitely going to play into his ability to finish this? I mean, supposing he's comfortable with never making it to Zora, not that he really needs the flippers for it. But he's got the bow for Eastern.
Oh, so there's a Master Sword.
Yeah.
I was under the impression Swamp Palace was a crystal dungeon.
Right.
And if that's
so
a
actually,
you don't need the mirror, you don't need the flippers. He's in go mode with that
Yeah.
Master Sword.
yeah, that Master Sword puts it there.
It'll be a strange version of go mode, but he's got it.
Yeah, and he's ready to go with those dark rooms, and we're going to see that pay off for him as he looks to expand this crystal lead.
If he hadn't found that sword, it could be he could be a ways off from go mode.
Indeed. And I wonder if we'd still see him play it like it was, though, and just kind of hope for it.
Well, clearly he was going for the hope play anyways, but
Yeah.
if he didn't find that sword here, he'd probably be going back to find some more stuff and look for more spaces he can explore just to find one sword.
Right. And May just taking a little detour there, using that hook shot to invoke some invincibility, having to double back for the switch. And Seven is thinking about that play on pod. He doesn't want to do the dark rooms, though, it looks like.
So about a minute ago, we did see eLmaGus do the Ice Palace bomb jump, which gets you through one room with a bomb jump where you're not supposed to. And that cuts the time it takes to do the Ice Palace in about half.
Yeah, it's pretty drastic. And we're about to see the benefits here as he makes his way out of this door on the right.
Yeah, normally you'd have to cut through this room, come back, switch some of those blocks around, push something later. I can't remember the full sequence.
Yeah, honestly, I usually just do the jump at this point.
But when you can push that block down and be ready to go, eLmaGus is just going to run straight into the boss here.
Right. And we see Seven opting to make his way back from that ice rod cave, and it looks like he's going to go ahead and make that play on Sora. He does need some rupees, but he can farm the river people, as we've seen a number of players do so far. Cold stares off and going. Using the spin strats, trying to contain the puffs to the corner. Can be difficult. He unloads that fire rod down to the last shot. With red mail and plenty of hearts, this should go pretty well for him, though. As he spins that Master Sword wildly.
Yeah, I like his tactic that he used of starting that fight off with Bombos. It takes a bit longer, but you save a ton of magic for the fire rod.
Definitely, especially when they don't have that half magic.
That's right.
Well, it looks like we'll see, rather than Zora and any rupee farming, he's going up for the hobo.
He'll probably be a bit disappointed with that. Bottles are not what he's looking for right now. And eLmaGus gets his crystal, he's out of there. He's in go mode as far as he's concerned. He doesn't care about searching through Ice Palace.
Oh, and it turned out the hobo had a bomb upgrade, not a bottle. So, still equally useless and even less safety provided. eLmaGus is going to make that play on his penultimate crystal, Eastern Palace.
Yeah, oddly enough, in a lot of these races, we see them clearing Eastern Palace, normally the first dungeon of the game, very late in the race, just because if that bow doesn't show up right away, there's no good time to go do it.
Pretty much. And you certainly don't ever expect to find it vanilla. As I think we're gonna see... Oh no, what is Roy up to?
It looks like he's going back into pod. The only other thing I can think of from this spot is he might go up to Catfish, but that's a long walk.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's gonna brave it. While eLmaGus takes care of some of the easier dark rooms. Oh no! He is rerouting and perhaps to the call you made for Catfish. Unless he's not made his pyramid check.
I think he was going for that pyramid check very early on, and then took a nasty death on the steps.
You know what? That was him, wasn't it?
So for those who are just kind of getting into Randomizer or looking at some of the more advanced strats, if you're looking at learning some of the dark rooms in this game, I recommend you start with Eastern Palace. We saw eLmaGus just tear his way through those rooms.
And yeah, to take nothing away from his skill level, those rooms are certainly the easiest ones.
That's right.
And down goes Armos with those silver arrows, just too easy.
Well, that makes 6 crystals. And with Bombos, he can go straight into Turtle Rock here.
Right.
I'm still impressed by the oddity of this seed, where the Palace of Darkness had both mirror and flippers, and if you were prepared to glitch your way through it, neither of those were required.
Yeah. It's been pretty weird. Thieves Town, I think, ultimately is the showstopper of this one. Granting our first sword, making that blind fight easier to start with, and then cane and the bow ending up obviously and always very required.
Yeah, Thieves Town just kind of broke this seed wide open.
Yeah.
So I missed what SevenS1ns got from the catfish, but I don't think it was very good.
Yeah, I was watching eLmaGus, so fortunately I missed it as well, but given that we know where the lamp is, unless it was Boots and he's not dashing, there's really nothing much. 20 rupees calling from chat, thank you.
I mean, if I was to go by pure odds, I'd probably say 20 rupees since it's the most common item.
Right. Alright. And raining fire from above, he opens the turtle.
So interestingly, the logic is going to expect that by the time he gets to the last room with chests, that laser bridge room, he's got some form of invincibility.
Right.
Either the cape or the blue cane. I don't think he's going to come up with either of those here. So
highly unlikely, and so we'll have to see if that ends up playing in at all. If he's crafty with his keys, he may not need to make that trip at all.
That's right.
We do have the bug net. Agatu can be defeated.
Oh, that's nice.
At the very least, our safety pack is complete. The way eLmaGus has been running, he won't really quite need it. So you do see Seven eventually make his way back to Pod now. And eLmaGus attempts to fight the roller. Very nice hookshot strats to get through that room. Early big key.
That's a very good way of showing off just how long of invincibility you can get when you throw that hookshot out there.
Indeed.
As long as it's extended, the game is not going to punish you and make you get hurt by something.
And Allbog's pointing out that there's one thing that would certainly sweeten this run for eLmaGus, but he will certainly forego it if he must, being the Tempered Sword. We're going to see yet another Master Sword Ganon.
He'll probably open a few chests along the way, just in the hopes that he finds a Tempered Sword, but...
Yeah.
It looks like Seven finally has the rupees he needs.
And he's
gonna
gonna
go get that lamp.
Yeah. Oh my, and he went to Pod to get the rupees to get the lamp. Oh wow. And he's gonna have to double back into Pod again.
Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, you gotta get the race done. That's a fortunate turn of events, though. Yeah, picking up that potion at the time. Really proving to be the undoing, as he had made his way all the way out here and could have just finished this up a little sooner.
So I think he knows that the lamp is here, particularly because Death Mountain was such a bottleneck for the rest of the logic.
Right.
He probably knew for a while where this was and just needed the money for it.
Yeah, the Moon Pearl being up there meant that none of the Dark World action could happen without it.
That's right.
And we see some very terse menuing from him.
I mean, we don't have a lot of insight into how their menuing happens, but I agree. It feels terse watching Seven menu right now.
Right, everything he's doing seems just a little bit more snappy on account of what we're assuming is his frustration and his sense of urgency. A very nice turn and smash on that Murderdactyl. As Elmay just makes his way across the bridge outside. And he'll say no to the Mimic Cave given his status.
And his, in fact, lack of mirror entirely.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I was forgetting that.
I mean, for all we know, there's a sword in there, and that could be taunting him, but...
Yeah. But no, I forgot. He realized, got on it much sooner than we did, that he was really just ready to get this one done. Putting that red rang to use again.
So here we see the only dark room in Turtle Rock. And it's the room with a ton of pathways that this platform has to ride on. And if you can time it perfectly, this room is very easy. I think it's if you ever get shifted off the pathway you're expecting that you will be lost in here forever.
Approximately that long. And we do see that Magus has a key here. So he's not going to have to bother with the laser bridge. He does have to find a way to deal with this Helmetsaur.
Yeah, with no boots, you can't just dash across that bridge.
Yeah. So he's got just a small number of tasks here. Complete. Getting these crystal switches hit. And he's going to make his way right on up to the penultimate room.
He does have an empty magic bar, but fortunately he knows there's one under this pot.
Yeah. Now, what I do not know is, does he have any potion? Because this is going to be a tight fight. We're going to see a little bit menuing expertise here. Oh, there, yeah, he gets the ice rod shot.
Oh. I think he has this in the bag now that that one head's cleared.
I think so.
I think it takes 5 hits with the hammer per head.
Yeah.
And he's got more than enough magic to do this, but you can see just how much menuing is required when you're doing this fight with only the hammer.
He's going to want to watch out. There we go. Oh, and he waits for Trinex to get in. Is able to take him out with that last fire rod shot. Now it's spin time. Try to get as many hits in on this first little zig and zag from Trinex before his hitbox closes up. As Helmetsaur goes down quickly for SevenS1ns. And a wonderful Trinex fight from Magus.
Tricky fight.
As we mentioned, the hitbox on the hammer is quite small, and with the agility of Trinex in that last stage, you really have to get in there.
Alright, so that is 7 crystals for eLmaGus. He is going to be heading over to Ganon's Tower, and there is a little game the chat likes to play, where you get a number.
The numbers rolling in. We've got calls for Tile Room, calls for Torch, and everything in between.
22 chests available in Ganon's Tower where that big key could be hiding.
Do you have any favorite numbers to pick?
My favorite number is always Bob's chest, which I think is 15 or 16. It's my favorite because the very first randomizer race I saw had it in Bob's chest.
I think he's, depending on the route, number 4. But, of course, route affecting this county. Alright, we do have a convenient audio switch as eLmaGus begins his search for the big key. He's gonna get some cash money. A small key. Gonna be important eventually.
Looks like SevenS1ns is heading into Swamp Palace. Or not. And it's just a blue rupee on the torch.
Alright.
I was holding my breath. I was worried that the big key would be on that torch and eLmaGus would have to search the whole game to find the boots.
Yeah, that would have been something. Alright, so we're up to our traditional 3 spots checked. More keys in number 4. A shield number 5, oh boy. As he goes ham on that. On that stall child. So we've got 7 spots checked and we're still looking for that big key.
That's right. Alright, SevenS1ns has, I think, figured out Swamp wasn't a crystal dungeon.
Right.
Which is the same line of thought I had earlier. And now he's heading into Ice, which should be a pretty quick clear for him.
And he will pick up a sword upgrade here.
eLmaGus making good use of that boomerang in that room.
Yeah. And switching between blue and red as he sees fit. And what are those? You told me there weren't any boots in the seed.
Oops.
Now this is purely speculative, but had that big key been on that torch, do you still continue to clear in case it's here?
That's a dangerous question.
Yeah,
I'm very curious which he would have done.
Yeah.
There's the big key in the randomizer room. And it looks like eLmaGus is going to keep going through, probably checking a few chests for a better sword.
Yeah, I can't blame him. Oh, and the other thing being, he doesn't have a mirror.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Since he opted not to have a mirror,
Yeah.
he's got to do this the slow way.
Yeah, no mirror, and so he's got to work his way back. Now, will we get the fabled big key chest? Check. Oh, and how fitting. This is the reason
The one chest.
Yeah, that never gets opened in an item randomizer. And I guess that's why.
Yeah, when you only ever see that chest be a single rupee, I'm certainly turned off from opening that chest ever again.
And of course, our priorities at that point are usually quite different. Well, yeah, just goes to show.
So eLmaGus starting the gauntlet at an hour and 12 minutes. Hour and 13 minutes. That's very fast.
Yeah.
This has been quite a quick seed for them throughout. And
Oh, excellent work on these mimics.
yeah,
Meanwhile, 7 keeps on going down the track of Ice Palace. And at this point, I guess he's hoping for another sword too, or maybe some boots. Because he's veritably in go mode even to the logic stand. Oh, and a convenient fairy drop there.
eLmaGus making quick work of this all.
Yeah, going to town on stall children. Wow, just destroying. Well, in the 4th room, 2 pink dragon men. And our little skull pattern in the ice.
I have not noticed that before.
And this last room can be just so diabolical. 7 works on his cold stare puffs, does finish the fight, and land mode 2 begins for Magus. Oh, and getting trolled on the RNG from the which way the head would go for that last worm.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Twice
to be
now.
so close.
Oh, but wow. Third time is the charm. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, if you know how to use that bow properly, as we've just seen, you can really take out land molas.
Very nice, quick clear there. Love those Samaria strats.
Yeah, the gauntlet, it's one of those things when you first play the game, you go, oh, this is hard, this is impossible, how do you get through this quickly? And as these runners play it more and more and more, we see it get really refined, almost down to a science.
Pretty much.
And you can see that pay off here with what eLmaGus is doing.
Oh, taking the risky lineup to get to that magic decanter. Usually you see guys walk all the way to the top of the room.
He's not afraid of those lasers.
Alright. And at this point, it's just a hunt for more swords. He's not even going to bother with the Helmisars, given his key count. Very nice, tempting the spike traps there. Getting some cash money before the big Moldorm 2 fight. Using that safety there with the sword pokes.
That is one of my favorite tricks to use. Just make sure you don't fall off by keeping your sword out.
Right. And easy peasy with that Master Sword Moldorm 2 fight. Sitting now at the canonical Rupee Max from the vanilla game. And gets a prize burrito.
Which, amusingly, gets him to stay exactly at that 999.
Eh. Well, and the boots here really are quite the prize, finding Ganon's Tower to deal with that final room.
Yeah, of all the rooms in the game, that's about the best one to have the boots for.
Oh wow, and this pattern. I don't blame him for not being able to fancy that one out.
No. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, Aga 2 out for blood with the spawn patterns.
You got up here too fast. I can't let you go to fight Ganon just yet.
Right.
Aga's saying, no, stick around.
And 7 finishes up Mothula in a solid fight. There we go, and Aga 2 goes down after just the absolute mess of spawn locations.
And it looks like eLmaGus was pretty mad about those.
Yeah, that was absolutely terrible. Not his execution. He did great with it, but those spawns, my god. Here we go. Time for the big pig.
So 7 at this point is making his way over to Turtle Rock. So he's still done very well on this seed. He did hit a few slowdowns, but I don't think being behind eLmaGus, who pulled in this incredible of a time, is anything to sniff at.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of the outcome of your race really has to do with your opponent, of course, which, again, another tautology. But we've seen, you know, call it a jet seed if you will, but sometimes these runners just dismantling the logic to get things done a good 20 minutes ahead of what would be expected. And you can see it on both sides, but one of them has to win. So I can say already that whoever is going to end up playing SevenS1ns in the next round is going to really have to work for a W.
Yeah, that's right.
Just waiting out that dreaded fire bat circle. As SevenS1ns creates one of his own, opening up Turtle Rock.
So you'll see eLmaGus has to spin every time he wants to hit Ganon here. That's because he's only on the Master Sword. And by the default game mechanics, Master Sword slashes don't work on Ganon.
Yeah, they do nothing.
And that's one of the reasons these runners were checking for a Tempered Sword, was it makes the fight that much easier and that much quicker.
Yeah, you see this kickback here. And you have to notice his positioning when he goes to make those hits, because he doesn't want to end up in the hole. Alright. Oh my. He holds on. Oh, misses on that shot, getting off a little bit before he turned. And we're going to see him wait for both torches to go out. He's going to bait another bat away. Oh,
he's
wow.
opting for a bit of a slower and safer fight here, which I think is the right decision. I think he knows he's ahead at this
Absolutely. With this kind of time. And he knows that he did this without the lantern. He knows when he started just go-moding dungeons, and so he wants to just finish this thing out. No reason to be taking a late drop. And GG to eLmaGus.
Wow. What
that
a run.
Comes in with an official SRL of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 58 seconds. Unbelievable. Wow.
Incredible run. Yeah. Incredible run from eLmaGus. I am actually
I'm pretty sure the fastest I've seen before this was something like a 123. Not even in this tournament.
That's right. So now I haven't followed every match this week since we've had 50 matches, but that's probably one of the fastest races we've seen of this tournament.
Indeed.
So I think we might check and see if eLmaGus wants to join us to speak for a bit about what he just did.
Yeah, and he is going to be just taking a moment of respite, and then will be joining us, it appears.
Well earned, I think.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Seven is just working his way through the I'm sorry, I got distracted by his bunny sprite there. That's fantastic. Working his way through Turtle Rock. Yeah, give these runners a follow. They've both been putting up a heck of a show. And shout outs to Feasel and the good people at Speed Gaming, along with the rest of the Randomizer community, for being able to come together. So put together a 4-way, turn it into 2 two-ways, and we still got another race going.
Yeah, for those that were watching that race earlier that we had on here that got broken off, both runners look to now be in Ganon's Tower. So if you want to check that out over on Speed Gaming 3, feel free to do that, because it looks to be a very tight finish.
Yeah, each of our racers doing a fantastic job with what may admittedly be a jet seed, but I mean, you can get those and then fail to convert. So we're just seeing Seven gonna pick up what he knows to be a key so he can continue on this.
So it looks like Seven is short a key at this point, compared to what eLmaGus had.
Interesting.
So he is going to have to do that laser bridge.
Interesting. And he's also out of magic, sitting here, staring blankly at the cane spot. That's unfortunate. And Derptastrophe, congrats on an awesome name, and also I believe that race is going on Speed Gaming 3. If you scroll up a bit, Dark Magician dropped the list a bit ago. Oh man, and we're gonna see a very rare trip to this room. SevenS1ns ran out of magic before the track room, Turtle Rock. On top of potentially needing a key. Oh, and the trick there is you can push those blocks after that, and I think there actually is a magic refill in that room. But then
Beyond
realize-
that, it's a giant rupee room with 3 rollers running around.
Right. All right, we do have eLmaGus in the waiting room. I'm gonna bring him in.
Okay.
eLmaGus, congrats on a great run. GG.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that is we're pretty sure the best time of the tournament so far. A blazing 1:20:58. Somebody's gonna gun for you.
I don't know why we wouldn't say that at this point.
Yeah, no, fantastic job, and extremely bold decisions going in, no lanterns and all that, and we saw you leave behind what turned out to be flippers in the mirror in pod, and we were like, wait a minute, he doesn't have a mirror. Why doesn't he have a mirror? Oh, wow, he already has the items. He's going. And then, of course, the lucky Ice Palace Master Sword ends up just the icing on the cake, so to speak.
Yeah, I don't know, like... I felt like this was going really, really well.
Yeah.
We got a lot of items at the start. Like, Thief's Town had, like, the bow and the cane. I'm not used to that in 20.
Right, and your first sword, yeah.
It's like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, and then I go up this mountain in Dark World, and suddenly I look at my list, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't need any more items. What is this? Like, what? Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
That's excellent. Now, did you feel like you, like your opponent must have been having the same easy time with it? Did you feel like you were in the lead?
I feel really good about my chances as long as they're like, if the boots were somewhere accessible and I missed them, that would have been very bad probably.
Right, and then getting the confirmation when you found them in Gambit's Tower must have been nice.
That was like, I was there. I was pretty sure that I was in the lead, honestly, because it went so well the whole scene. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, you converted on it excellently. Of course, as you made your way to Ganon's Tower, and we play our traditional number game here, everyone wanted that big key on Torch.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, I thought about that. First of all, I had the sword. I had the sword problem, but that fixed itself somehow miraculously in Ice Palace. Don't know why the game did that for me, but that was amazing.
Just as an update, SevenS1ns found one of the other swords on the laser bridge in Turtle Rock.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
and
that's
he's
nice.
just finishing up Trinex. But yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. He had the trouble of being about to get a lantern off of Zora, which obviously you didn't bother with. But he had 500 and some odd rupees and then bought a blue potion by mistake. I won't say by mistake, he must have intended to, but kind of threw off his rupee count and sent him around the world a couple times farming.
Yeah. I kind of, at the start of the run, I did want the lamp. I knew that it had to be somewhere where, you know, it couldn't be in Dark World because the flute was there, and it had to be in the starting location. And like I like went from one place to another because I wanted it for Hera, so I could do Hera guaranteed, 100%. Right. That's the only reason I wanted it. And then like I did Bats because that was my second last location. And I never really got above 500 rupees, and then I was like, okay, now I'm not going to bother anymore. I found the fire rod anyways at some point in Eastern, so it's like, whatever.
Right. Yeah, so pod dark rooms become no problem, and you were able to just put the rest of the thing to bed. And chat calling out your collection count, 121 for 216, wow.
This is by far the best seat I've had in the past probably 2 months.
And as you prepared to get in for the interview, we heard that on we ended up splitting the 4-way, and so the other match, they had been a simultaneous Ganon's Tower basically, just shortly after you finished. So yeah,
that's really cool actually.
Oh gosh, how about the Aghanim 2 spawn?
That was a bad spawn, but I obviously also played it badly.
Oh, I mean,
I don't
there
know.
wasn't much to do, especially just right from the get. It was just, hey, we're going to be a triangle.
Yeah. I could have positioned myself a bit differently to at least get one hit in, but I was kind of like caught off guard by that one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was some of the worst RNG I saw for it, but yeah.
It's okay. I was sweating on Ganon because like I got nervous honestly because like when I fell down the hole I took a look at my inventory and then I remembered, wait a second, I do not have the lamb, so yeah.
Right, having to line up and worry about the magic for the fire rod and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like where usually it's fine for me. Like I should be fine with Ganon, but like you kind of think about, oh, what if I do mess up and then I miss Torch Glitch obviously, and then that's where you start to sweat. But
Right.
it worked out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, there were a couple of spins there where, to be honest, I'm surprised they didn't result in falls, but you managed to keep them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a few times we had sharp intakes of breath over here.
Yeah. But congrats on a great run. Absolutely fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add? Free to hang around if you like.
I'll say in voice chat, but I want to thank everybody for watching. Speak Gaming and Fiesel, of course, for hosting. You guys for commentating.
Oh, sure thing, man. Thanks for the run.
I'm gonna have to rewatch, of course, the VOD.
Oh, for sure.
Because I still can't believe how good the sea was.
It was pretty insane, man.
Yeah, if you haven't done so already, make sure to give eLmaGus and SevenS1ns as well a follow.
Yeah.
SevenS1ns didn't win this race, but he's still run it very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can catch a lot of high caliber play by following these guys.
Yeah, we see Seven just making his way down the left side of GT now with a nice little boomerang hookshot combo.
Yeah, it looks like he had made the right side gamble already, so now he's just kind of cleaning up.
Right.
Playing around with some bombs a bit.
Yeah. A little homage to Dark Magician.
And what did Dark Magician do there?
Oh, Dark Magician just likes to leave bombs everywhere.
I suppose at the end of the run you don't need those bombs for anything, and they don't take any time to use.
I mean, does a little self-affliction there. Oh, we're getting confirmation. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the same thing. Looks like Anaconda has won the race on the other channel at 1:30:32. So, not too far ahead of SevenS1ns and a ways behind eLmaGus, which I think speaks just to the incredible play eLmaGus was pulling off here.
Absolutely. Dealing with those mimics, making his way up.
So as Seven makes his way up Ganon's tower, I think it's worth noting some of the administrative stuff that's going on for this tournament, where this is the last match for the first round. And because of the way this is organized with Swiss pairings, what we're going to see is these races will finish up, and then they'll make the pairings for the coming week, where every person who won one race so far plays someone else who's won one. Everyone who's won 0 plays someone else who's won 0. And the runners are going to be scheduling those matches starting tonight. So I think we'll probably see our first races for round 2 tomorrow night. That's going to repeat on a weekly basis for the next 5 weeks. That's a lot of randomizer.
Indeed. We're going to carry ourselves right through Thanksgiving. If you're in the States or Canada. And, yeah, maybe right on through Christmas by the time we get through the rest of the bracket.
Yeah, so no further matches for the main tournament tonight, as far as we can tell, but we'll be back in strong form as early as tomorrow.
Yeah, and plenty of matches to go on the secondary tournament. Do check those out. Typically on the Randomizer Mania channels, although we do have a Speed Gaming 2 matchup between Herfy Durfy and VTorp happening. I want to say at 6 p.m. Eastern time.
That'll be late for Herfy Durfy, who I
It
know
will,
is racing from Europe, but
Yeah, I think he's
That'll
got
be a fun
that's
match.
at midnight.
I know those two have been hyping up the match and playfully taunting each other a bit, I think. So
Indeed,
I'll be looking forward to seeing that one between them.
for sure. Gonna be a good match, a lot of fun. And definitely stick around for the interviews. Those guys are both characters.
There's no question with that.
Yeah. Excellent Wizrobe room right there. It's gonna put those boots to where I can get through this conveyor bridge too. I've seen a lot of runners have to do that without the boots, and it's just, oh, you take it for granted. Really nice movement to get around that fire bar. Pretty tricky thing, and of course, if you take that hit, you pretty much end up having to restart that room because you get knocked off back to the door.
Yeah, so just watching Seven run this gauntlet, he clearly knows what he's doing with this game.
Yeah.
Looks like he is still checking for another sword, but
Yeah, I guess that would be it. Maybe he's just clearing them because he already knows the outcome.
yeah, at this point he's just concentrating on finishing. I don't think the time between the two racers matters for this tournament.
And I'm under the impression it does not. See a very quick Moldorm 2 here with the Tempered Sword. Just a slash and a spin.
And he doesn't like that chest. Oh, he
Two
really doesn't
bombs?
like that chest.
A Quake. Some more bombs.
And he won't even open it. So for those watching this, wondering what the heck is going on, that's just a little meme the runners participate in, where depending on their stage at the race, how they felt about the run, how they're feeling today, they might or might not open that chest, they might or may not do something to it.
Yeah. Seven, feeling some frustration over his run, decides to let that thing play punching bag.
Yeah, it's just a way for the runners to add a little personal flair at the end. As
And
he
we're gonna
goes
see
in with
these-
these awful Aghanim patterns again.
Yeah, and this perfect time to explain that these spawns are shared between the two seeds. If you were to, for some reason, have to take this fight twice, you would get a new set. But the first time through, for your Aghanim fights and your Ganem fights, all the teleports are the same.
Yeah, for all that we like a lot of randomness in our randomizer, we do like to give the runners the same things. And so
Right.
giving them the same patterns in those fights means that at least they're on a level playing field.
And Fire Krillin, I think, asking about the result of the Reziphus and Wild Anaconda match. I want to say it was a Wild one with a 130-32.
Yeah, and Reziphus is just fighting Ganon right now.
Interesting. Knowing that they were both in Ganon's tower at the same time, I imagine there must have been some trouble there.
I would imagine so as well. I checked it very briefly, saw them in randomizer room together, but something split between them.
Interesting. Going to town. Oh, and pulling off the dash strats. Very nice.
That's a tricky play to do.
Yeah.
So the idea there, for those that haven't seen it or wondering what's he doing, is when you're dashing, you don't get knocked back by Ganon in the same way that a Sword Slash does. So you can just sit in that ring and keep poking him if you have very good execution.
Yeah, it's an extremely tight window to fit into. Oh, and Anska explaining that on the Res Wild match, apparently there was a death warp interrupted by a fairy for lack of mirror, which did come into a bit of play for this run for Magus, but yeah, that's a
Stupid fairies stopping death warps.
yeah, that's an unfortunate turn.
Oh, Seven gets the nice double hit off Ganon there.
Very nice. Yeah. Where did he go? All right. And
there we are.
GG to 7. And his official time here, a 1:40.11. So between our first 3 runners, 10 minutes apiece. Yeah, get some GGs and some love in the chat for SevenS1ns pulling this one off in good order.
Indeed. That was, well, it diverged at the end, but up through the start of it, that was a very close race that we saw.
Absolutely.
And some great execution at various points by both of these runners. So if you haven't already, give these guys a follow.
Gotta love that Roy Sprite.
Testing.
That's right. The runners have access to about 30 different sprites that they can choose from. And some choose to stick with Link, some choose a minor variation on Link, and some go with something way out there, like this Roy Koopa sprite from not even the same franchise.
All right, looks like we got 7 in the waiting room. Let's bring him in. 7, GG.
We
7, GG. Oh, we're getting a little bit of
Thank you.
feedback.
Sorry, you're gonna get feedback. My bad. I don't know how to
So
fix
good.
this.
7.
All right, let's see if it's fixed. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. And GG.
I can't hear you.
GG indeed.
Lord. Let's see if it's fixed. I'm gonna go and hop in the waiting room. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna resolve this tech issues and then we'll have ourselves an interview.
I appreciate him doing that.
Yeah. You probably don't want to hear the same questions over and over and over and over and over and over again.
And over and over and over and over again.
And again, over, again, over. Wait.
Instead, you'll just put up with Epi Enemy saying over and over, over and over.
Yeah. Well, we do want to remind you, again, plenty more Randomizer in the secondary tournament going on the Randomizer Mania channels. One more match, I think, coming through on Speed Gaming 2 in just over 2 hours. Do stick around, enjoy the show, and we're going to give this a try again with 7. Oh.
Nope.
Nope. Music going. Seven?
Hello.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. Good to have you in.
Yeah.
Oh, I still can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Actually, that race I claimed to be on SG2 may not be on SG2 later.
That's right. You'll just have to, I guess, stay tuned and keep your eyes peeled on the schedule. Not sure what the criteria would be, but it's very possible in 2 hours.
Oh, all right. And we've got confirmation from Feasel that he can stream it. So shout out to Feasel for the.
Oh, thank you, Feasel.
Yeah.
Stay tuned to this channel in 2 hours and 10 minutes for another race.
Yeah. And we're gonna give this one last check with SevenS1ns. All right, one more try.
Yeah, I am so sorry. I am
it's all right.
super nervous, and everything went wrong. I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah,
we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Ah, beautiful. That lantern. Why? Why?
Oh, I know. Having that end up on Zora, and it was crazy because basically all 4 runners, because this ended up, we did the 2 o'clock slots. All 4 runners ended up making their way up Death Mountain using a hook shot for the echolocation through the dark cave. And then the moon pearl's up there. So you go, oh no, that means the lantern had to be somewhere I could have gotten to. And then for it to be all the way up there.
I didn't even make that deduction. I was like, I learned all the dark rooms. Let's go Palace of Darkness. And it was like the one place I forgot to learn the dark rooms in.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was like, let's go. I can do this without dark rooms. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So
That's
that was yeah, but GG Magus. That was a great race though. I enjoyed that scene.
Yeah, that ended up being one of the more exciting seeds. A couple of explosive moments like Thieves Town. Just, oh hey, you need items? We got items. Come on down to Thieves Town.
Yeah, that was a very generous Thieves Town indeed.
But any other highlights out of the run for you? I mean, I know you're frustrated about that lamp, and we were quite entertained with your treatment of the validation chest.
What was in there? I'm curious.
I'm not sure if Magus ended up getting it, and partway through the race we switched to a two player pairings. Oh, that's right. It was the map. Mage did grab it. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I'm glad I blew that up. No, a highlight for me was like,
yeah, actually knowing now that it was remembering now it was the map. Yeah, that's the fitting treatment.
I'm glad it burned. No, I don't know. This race is my first like big race like that outside of the qualifier, and I learned so much, but I have no idea what the highlight is for me. No, just the lamp.
I'll tell you what. If I had to pick one, well, I thought your boss fights were pretty solid altogether, but pulling off the dash strats on Ganon, getting inside the fire bat circle for phase 2, I don't see a lot of guys try that, let alone pull it off. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah, that was a great way to cap off that run in style.
Thank you. That was literally the first time I tried it. I saw Eddie do it. I was like, wait, I'm just gonna do this because I'm not coming first anyway. Let's try this, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked out, and something now you'll know the second time that you can do it. So nice job, man. And,
thank you.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I think whoever has you for the second round is going to be in for World of Hurt. So
I will be dedicating pretty much all my spare hours just to dark rooms.
There you go. You heard it. He's gonna do all his kata in the dark.
Stay tuned to SevenS1ns in his future races to see some dark rooms get wrecked.
Yeah, or see dark rooms is always a funny one.
When you put it that way, yeah.
Yeah. But any parting thoughts? Anything on your mind for the second round?
I'm not really. Honestly, I'm gonna be practicing like mad and hopefully improve and take this valuable lesson that the lantern can be a King Zora. That's he can have useful items. This is news to me.
It's rare to see, I know.
Yeah.
But no, thank you for having me, and again, thank you, Magus, for the race.
My pleasure. It was awesome. Thank you for racing me. It was. I mean, I said this earlier. This was by far the best seat I had in the past 2 months. So couldn't have
One of the
wished for
fastest
anything
I've
better.
ever seen for an item randomizer. So GG to both you guys.
Thank you.
And I think we'll tie it off here. Come
Yeah,
back in a
thanks.
couple of hours. We're going to have one more match here. Check out the Randomizer Mania channels, and thank you for tuning in. Shout outs to DJ Tifa Hart, who has been tracking this race from the 4-player down to the 2-player and all the way through the end, helping out in chat with
That
the
was some
explanations.
incredible tracking to work
Yeah,
there.
and even kind of arranging the interviews in a way. So thanks for that, and we'll see you in a while. I've been Epibliticus.
I've been Philion. Thank you, Speed Gaming, and have a good afternoon.